Good morning, KOTA territory. Welcome to First Sip here at the KOTA Now desk. I think this is now the KOTA Now desk. You know, we used to do it out in the studio or in the newsroom, but now that has come and gone, and I think this looks a lot better.
This is our official spot.
Yes, 100%. It looks a lot better in my opinion. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Thank you again for joining us. Hope you have your warm or hot cup of coffee. Hey, if it's cold, hey, you drink cold coffee, good for you, because you can also bring that to the show. Coffee or tea or water, whatever you drink in the morning.
I've got my vending machine breakfast with me
yes.
this morning too.
But for now, I'm Humberto Giles Sanchez.
And I'm Mimi Herrick. We're going to start off with we have three really good fun topics today.
Hopefully we can get through them, and hopefully I can talk, because oh man, after that show I am just mumbling over my words.
Same. I'm bad until I take a nap for the day. So we're starting off with, before you adopt a pet, a checklist of things that you should maybe want to consider. I think one of the first ones that we talked about on Good Morning Black Hills this week was, can you afford the pet? So that's vet, food, toys, all the care it needs, upfront costs, and lifetime costs.
Yes, it is very important for you to take those into consideration. Plus, also make sure you're in the perfect mental state, and or you have, you do your research on the pet you're trying to adopt, because some pets are, something I kind of missed when we were talking about this topic is make sure that you know the pet's history, and make sure that you yourself are prepared for it, not only because every pet has a different, or every animal has a different story, but also your household might not even be pet proof yet, and make sure that pet doesn't have bad history with children. If you have children, make sure there's a lot that goes into this, a lot. Again, mental state's a big one. Make sure that you are comfortable enough and that you are stable enough to have a pet, just because that can also play a factor in whether or not you will be happy and your pet will be happy.
Exactly. And another one is, do you have time for the animal? Yes. Certain animals require more hands-on stuff than other animals. Dogs you have to take outside and for walks, and they need a lot of play. Cats are still high maintenance, but a little bit less, because you don't have to necessarily take them outside. But they do need to play every day still. And then other smaller animals, are you willing to clean their cages or buy all that new bedding for like smaller rodents and stuff?
Also, do your research on, if you end up buying a long-term pet, in the sense of a turtle, a bird, specifically a parrot, make sure that you have a plan for them, because they will, most of the time, or sometimes they will outlive you if you buy them later in life. So make sure you have a plan for that as well. But yeah, every pet is different. For example, like you mentioned, dogs, cats are very different. Turtles are very different. Hamsters, rabbits, they're all different, and all plan for kind of the long term for their their care via financial or via your finances, I guess to say, because you'll have to invest a lot in toys, a lot of veterinarian costs, vet costs, that also falls under that. You'll be investing in their food, you'll be investing in their insurance. You got a budget for them. They're not cheap. Think of them as think of them as a part of your family. They're just, I guess, a child, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's another one with that commitment aspect, if you're ready to commit to them. If you already have pets or if you have kids, will they all get along? I think that's a big thing to consider when you're getting an animal, especially dogs and cats. They can have very intense preferences of really not liking kids or other animals.
I will say I do have a personal kind of story for this. When I was a little younger, one of my family's friends, my mom's friends to be more exact, they impulsively adopted a dog. But the dog, they had a newborn. The dog wasn't very fond of newborns. So then they had to return the dog, and again, returning a dog usually doesn't end up being good for the pet you adopted's mental health. You got to take that into consideration as well. But again, don't adopt on a whim. Make sure that you do your, it can be really cute when you go and look at the pets at the Black Hills Humane Society or anywhere that you adopt a pet, and it can be really cute, but they do, don't do it on a whim. They ask around, ask the people there what you need beforehand, and maybe you're there to look at the pets first or look at the animals first, and then you come back and adopt the pet. Kind of prepare before you actually adopt.
That's something that I did before I adopted a cat about a year ago, and before that I had spent weeks and weeks and weeks thinking about it. Like, do I have the time? Do I have the space? Do I have the resources? Can I find the time for this cat, this kitten?
Right. No, but it just makes sense.
Really consider it.
Yes, and this also applies to buying a pet. You know, if you want to go out and buy a pet, you can do that, but also make sure that you apply some of these, finances, lifestyle, time commitment.
Because the vet is not cheap.
No, it's not. Make sure you invest in good pet insurance as well, which again helps out with the vet. But a lot of the times, you do have to take all of these into consideration, whether you're adopting or buying. Also, make sure you take into consideration your allergies. If you're a first-time pet owner or thinking of becoming a first-time pet owner, make sure that you know that you're not allergic to that animal. It's something that I always kind of joke around for myself, but I do take allergy medications at home to make sure that my allergies don't flare up. I am allergic to cats, but I have a cat.
Yes.
Things you do for love, guys. Trust me, things you do for love.
Well, especially for those furry friends too. They are so cute.
But make sure that you have a plan in place in case you do end up being allergic to that animal. Like I said, I personally take medication, go to the doctor to kind of take that meds in order for myself to not have a serious allergic reaction to Mama,
to
the cat.
Oh,
yes.
She's so cute, guys. Like, I wish we had pictures up for you.
But yeah. So that's just some ways that you can do it. And again, I'll reiterate what I mentioned a little bit earlier. The most important thing that you can do is don't adopt on a whim. Don't buy a pet on a whim. Make sure you do your research beforehand and make sure you are in a good enough spot that you can afford and comfortably support an animal in your household or in your life. But yeah, so, that was kind of that was, I believe, the heaviest topic today, which is a surprise because we usually have
at least one or two hard hitters at the beginning of the week, and then the rest of the week is fun. But
but now
this week we're staying pretty silly.
Because you actually,
I was at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, you were at Planet Fitness, so we have 3 instead of 4, meaning we have a lot less hard topics. And usually the day that we have the hard topic is Tuesday for some reason. I've noticed. I've gone back and it is always Tuesday, which is weird.
Tuesday. I think it's because we're both in a sad mood on Tuesday.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know. For me, it's Wednesday, but
I get the midweek
okay.
blues really bad on Tuesday.
I'll say this right now. My least favorite day, I know a lot of people say that it's Monday for a lot of people, and I get it. It's the start of the week. You just got out of a good
I usually have the best sleep on Sunday nights because I can go to bed without feeling guilty at like 4 p.m.
See, for me, it's Wednesday. Why? Because it's the middle of the week. It's not Thursday where it's like, okay, well, I can look forward to Friday, and it's not Tuesday where you're like, all right, you know what? I'm almost there. I got past Monday. Now it's Tuesday. I get in a better mood. It has to be Wednesday. It's an inconvenient day for me. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Day.
Yes, because you're like, what do you have to look forward to on Wednesday? You're like, okay, it's the middle of the week.
I get to do the noon on Wednesdays. That's something to do.
I was like, why can't it just go Tuesday, Thursday, where you're like Tuesday, and then you're like, okay, you know what? I'm enjoying it.
This is my life hack for anyone at home who is struggling to get through the week. For me, we used to do this when I was a swimmer. We'd be at practice on a Monday or Tuesday night, and we'd be like, well, it's Monday, which means basically it's already Tuesday morning practice, which means it's Wednesday, which means it's Thursday night practice, which means basically tomorrow's Friday.
My disliking for Wednesday is still not going to change, but I like the fact that you're giving that advice to me. I might actually have to apply that just to look forward to.
It works because today's Thursday, which means basically Friday, but yesterday it was Wednesday, which means it's pretty much Thursday, which means it's Friday.
Okay. I will try my best.
Girl mathing my way.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best.
Our next topic this week is back to school on a budget.
A lot of the kiddos out there are not going to like this if they're watching.
I'm so sorry. It's back to school season.
Yes.
Everyone dreads it, including me, because it makes me sad that I am not still in college. I was looking on the United States Federal Credit Union, and they say to budget approximately this much money for each category of thing, but it can sound pretty expensive here looking at it. $169 for clothes, $113 for shoes, $206 for electronics and tech, and $94 for notebooks, folders, glue, pencils, markers, scissors, all that stuff.
And that $206 mark is for the tech and stuff is only going to keep going up because as new innovative tech comes out.
Phones are so expensive these days.
It will get even more expensive. But yeah, stuff like that you have to take into consideration before your kiddo goes to school, and if you're a college student, trust me, I've also been there. It
gets more expensive with the dorm shopping.
Yes, and all the textbooks you have to buy. But some ways that you've listed to kind of help you in your pursuit to kind of shop cheaper is reuse old supplies like folders, binders, pens, pencils, markers. I know that a lot of the time you had those leftovers, like leftover unsharpened pencils.
Yeah.
Use those.
A way that my mom made it kind of fun for us once we were in like later elementary schools, instead of going to the store and buying all new things from our list, we'd take our list and she had this bin and we'd go through and we'd get to pick out stuff from the bin of stuff that we already had. A lot of it was just like folders, those plasticky folders. Those never go bad unless you really are strong in destroying them. But stuff like that, or notebooks, she would have us rip out the couple pages of that we had written on. Hadn't used the rest of it. Markers, we had a bin full of art supplies with construction paper and glue and stuff like that. So going through what you have already and making an inventory and then putting what you can towards those school supplies can make it a lot cheaper.
No, 100%. You know, a lot of the time when I was a little kid, I know it was a big thing for me as a little child. I always thought that, you know, ripping out the pages of the notebooks wasn't cool because I didn't have the newest paper, the newest book.
Print.
Yes, the newest in style.
Well, that's
Spider-Man notebook.
That's another one. Is my mom would have us DIY decorate a cover for them with just some construction paper and markers, so we would have an all-new notebook to look forward to.
I was going to say that's what my mom had me do. She was like, just paint it or just draw on it, and I was like, all right. Guess. And then at the end of the day, I was a lot happier with it because it was unique and it was mine. I didn't have to deal with other people's Batman, and then Spider-Man.
Then the other kids were like, oh, where'd you get that one? And it's like, I made it. I put stickers on it and it's way cooler than yours.
Exactly. But no, that's just another little way. That actually kind of involves, you know, what I was going to get into, getting your kids involved in kind of helping you save this money. That's one of the ways. You can also, you know, for the pencil bags that you can reuse, you know, if somebody else is like, hey, just change the style, you know, add different things to it or even color it a different color, stuff like that. You reuse those pencil bags. They don't, like you mentioned earlier, if those pencil bags last you a while, unless you're really rough with it.
Really rough. That would be impressive, honestly.
Yes.
If you have broken a pencil case, one of those big plastic chunky ones, I would love to see you drop a comment with it as a picture because that's impressive.
I mean, I still have my pencil bag. I still use the pencil bag I used back in elementary school.
Me
just
too.
to let you know
I
how.
Still have it.
Yes, just to let you know how long that has lasted me. I still use it, and I've had that same pencil bag since elementary school. So it lasts you a while if you kind of do that. But again, yes, getting your kids involved, that is one of the best ways that you can kind of encourage your children to kind of work with you to save money. But also, before you go out and buy stuff, big thing, take inventory. Make that list before you go out and shop, and then also kind of set yourself a budget so that way you don't go over budget into kind of that shopping mindset, money-saving mindset.
Well, yeah.
Kind of applies the smart shopping that we talked about last week.
Yeah, and the coupons and sales and stuff that are going on right now could probably save you a lot of money as well if you're looking in the right places. I know typically those junk mail things we always throw out, but maybe keep an eye out for some back-to-school deals.
Yes, exactly, and those are some of the best ways that you can kind of do that to kind of help you save money and not break your wallet or burn a hole. Yes, not burn a hole through your money wallet.
Money wallet.
Yes, I don't know where I was going with that. I tried. Okay.
You're going for it.
It's the morning. I got a long day ahead of me.
It's after the show. Okay, you can't hold us to anything that's going on right now.
Yes.
But our last topic is screen-free activities for your kids because a study came out recently. I don't have it in front of me anymore, but it basically said that kids under 13 can be really negatively impacted by phones. So we came up with some activities that you can do without phones.
Yes.
And some of them that I personally really love is crafting. That was always so fun when I was little. Art projects can help express your creativity. They can even be educational in certain cases. There's a lot of really good ideas on Pinterest. Personally, that's where I get a lot of my ideas for DIY Fridays. So I think that's a good one. And then also cooking and baking. I know both of us are really into that, but that's great for teaching math and measurements.
Yes, I will say, a good thing to keep in mind is or at least is kind of encouraging your kids, your children to kind of do stuff with you, whether that in the kitchen, if that is, cooking, baking, organizing the silverware, organizing your cutlery. That is another way that you can do it. Make sure that they do it safely. That's one of the ways. If take them out, go outside. According to the Mayo Clinic, this is coming off of their website. They had 6 little bullet points. It's be accountable, be realistic, be engaged, put handheld devices away, create phone-free zones in your home, and go outside. As I was about to get into it, kind of encourage them to go out and explore the world. Go with them, go running, go to the park. That kind of encourages socialization and prevents them from being stuck indoors all day.
I used to make such great friends on the playground, and I know that lots of kids are social butterflies on the playground.
Yes, and if they're still working on like activities that their school gave them for those summer activities, sit down and do those with them. Read with them. That's another big one.
Oh my gosh.
And a good thing is creating that phone-free zone. I guess the best example that the Mayo Clinic gave was when you're eating dinner, make sure that those phones or those devices aren't near the dinner table, so that way you guys can actually interact and make sure that you have those that connection there. Because I know that nowadays it's become a little more popular to watch something while you're eating dinner, especially with the accessibility of an electronic device.
Well, we have little screens that we bring everywhere with us that we don't necessarily always need, especially at family-driven times like dinner or eating meals together. My mom was always very adamant of put the phone away before you come to the dinner table.
And also be realistic. Phones and electronic devices are everywhere. You're not going to be able, as hard as someone tries to take these devices away, it's like you're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah,
they're everywhere, whether it's going to be at your home or whether it's going to be at school with a friend showing them a video. But yeah, so maybe and during that time, being realistic might mean setting that timer, setting that parent timer on those devices. So whenever you set the timer for an hour or 30 minutes, that device locks up when those 30 minutes are done.
Yeah,
and then you yourself know that passcode and they don't, so then they would have to come to you like, well,
I do that to my own phone. I personally lock it. I lock myself out of social media after I think 15 minutes on TikTok and 20 minutes on Instagram. I lock myself out. So.
And a good way to do that is also be accountable. They might give you those,
please,
yes, please. Can I get another 15 minutes? No, you have to be accountable and set rules for yourself as well to make sure that when they come back to you with the please can I get 10 more minutes, you're like, all right, you know what, maybe we'll do something else, and then maybe if we have enough time we can go back to that phone later on for your extra 10 minutes.
You don't have to break the bank to pay for a lot of these activities either. Rapid City Public Library has a ton of kids activities going on all the time, but they also have a huge selection of board games and puzzles that you can take home with you and bring back to the library, which I thought was so cool and such a great way for you to, like, if you don't want to buy a whole new Sorry board or Game of Life, you can go there and check that out, try it out, see if it works for your family, and make it fun trying things every week or something.
Exactly. Well, we hope some of these tips help that we kind of talked about. We went through 3 topics. We went through adopting a pet or buying a pet for the first time, things you should know before you do that. Went through kind of the back to school shopping that it's coming closer. It's closer than you think. Yes, it's closer than you think, which is hilarious and kind of scary to me a little bit if you think about it.
I always know the week of my birthday, that's when the back to school ads come, and so
that's
my birthday's on Sunday and the back to school ads have come.
Oh, it's already here. And then finally we talked about, kind of helping you, some tips to help you reduce screen time in your household, or maybe even just at your workplace or wherever you need to kind of reduce those screen time in your life. But for now, thank you for joining us here. We hope you had a wonderful, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Tune in again tomorrow for
DIY Friday Delights.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. If you like a sweet treat, make sure you stick around. This is another screen-free activity that I'll have for you and your family to try.
Yes. But for now, thank you again for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday morning. We'll see you again here next week.